Kuldeep, great to finally catch up with you. Obviously, we're around here at Michael's stables, and you just saw your very own Muraahib trial this morning. I imagine you were pleased with that.
Yeah, thanks, Nick, first of all, for the opportunity. Yeah, it was my first trial to physically, get to the tracks and watch, and, we were pleased with how Muraahib did. He jumped well, and he held. So, we are quite pleased and, looking forward to racing with him at the, Lion City Cup.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we'll get on to that in due course, obviously, with Muraahib going forward to that big race. But let's just chat about you, if we may. Obviously, those that perhaps don't know a great deal about you, you're quite new to ownership here in Singapore, but you were telling me before that Boston is home, so you're certainly a well-travelled man.
Yeah, no, I was born and raised in India, and I was there until I finished my undergrad. And when I was growing, even before my great-grandparents, as I was mentioning, were into horses and horse racing and breeding. And I was really, as growing up, really motivated with the speed and elegance of horses, and always one day wanted to get into horses, but then moved to Boston, and started business, studying, and eventually ended up in Singapore sometime in 2013 to do my PhD. So came here, did my PhD for a couple of years. I used to build brain implants for neuromodulation, but sometime in 2015, took a break from my PhD and started my current company, Bioformis, and we are a digital health company. We manage patients with complex chronic conditions in the comfort of their home, using sensors and data science to really be able to improve better patient outcomes, drive down the cost. And even when I was back in the US, I had a bunch of friends, who had, horses, were into horse racing, attended the Derby, Kentucky Derby a couple of times with them. I think the timing wasn't right until I could officially be an owner. So sometime last year, in Singapore, there was an opportunity to be an owner. Muraahib, a great horse, consistent horse, and I thought maybe this is the time to get into it.
Yeah, indeed. Well, you talk extremely passionately about racing. Obviously, it makes perfect sense with obviously you being a very successful businessman as well, and setting up said companies and doing very well with them, and obviously just putting racing on the back burner there. But just obviously recently you purchased Muraahib, obviously formerly with Lee Friedman, who's now moved back to Australia. Again, looking ahead, he's going to obviously run in some nice races, given his rating and so on and so forth. But it isn't just Muraahib. You've ventured out. You've been sort of spending at the sales, and it's great to see that obviously your horses will be carrying your crimson and gold colours very soon here at the Singapore Turf Club. Just tell us a little bit of the entry to racehorse ownership. Obviously, you mentioned it there, the timing being right, but you've told me beforehand when we've spoken that your family has this rich history in India, and I've been very fortunate to go racing in India. That the passion and the love for the sport is huge, and you're now bringing that forward from a previous generation.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I always wanted to do that. And as a person, even in business, I've always believed in go fast. Speed is critical. Make things fast, break things fast, and go and succeed. And horses and the speed of horses, I was just intrigued, and I've always been in love with them. And over the past, I think, we got Muraahib, the first horse, in November. And since then, I think earlier this year, we have been busy at some sales in Australia. So we purchased 4 yearlings for Singapore, which hopefully will be here by end of the year, early next year. Some pretty good pedigree, Flying RT, Pride of Dubai,
some really interesting ones, actually, because you've got a Shalar as well, I believe.
Yeah, we just purchased Shalar a couple of weeks ago at the Easter sale. So super excited. They are currently, training in New Zealand, and hopefully will be here racing in Singapore.
Yeah, indeed. And just obviously, given that you spend a lot of time here, it does make obviously sense to an extent. But why Singapore? I mean, you can race almost everywhere, but I suppose if a large chunk of your time is here. But I mean, you obviously being very successful in what you do outside of racing, the model here in Singapore still a very good one. I know times have been trying, as you're fully aware, with your businesses all around the globe, but the racing model in Singapore, I'm sure you'd agree, is still a very good one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, even though I'm new to the racing, I've been following the Singapore Turf Club and the racing scene here. Never been to the races though, but quite actively following. And I think, it's a great, vibrant place. Because of COVID and the pandemic, there's been some slowdown, but I think it'll pick up. The stake money and the prize money is very good. The owner privileges are pretty good, and we have great trainers, and been really fortunate to have Michael training, and with Michael we have now purchased 4 yearlings, and hopefully we'll look for a few more horses to bring them to Singapore and hopefully race here. And I think it's also, we have a very big business community in Singapore, and people are really excited to get into horse racing. I get, when I tell people about the horse ownership and the experience here, I think it's, intriguing, and many people want to get into it. So I hope that in the next couple of months we'll see that, vibrance back at the Turf Club when we are racing.
Absolutely, and I mean, obviously, as you say, that those horses coming here too, Michael. Obviously, we saw you obviously with Michael at the trials this morning. Obviously, a champion guy, we can say now. He is a champion trainer, isn't he? And obviously, the experience with Michael is certainly always a good one as well. I mean, he's extremely accommodating to us as the broadcast. But I imagine with owners, obviously, you've brought friends here this morning, and you've had a look around the stables. I mean, what better place to be on a Tuesday morning?
Yeah, exactly. Great experience. I think it was the first, and we're also racing currently in Australia. So we have been, I've been involved with few trainers. Kieran Ma. In Australia, we have few yearlings, going to start racing there. So, really looking at, expanding how we could, get into horse racing globally.
Yeah, no, it's tremendous, obviously. And again, the fact that it's not just Singapore certainly will give you plenty of interest wherever you may be around the globe. Obviously more closer to hand, obviously we saw Muraahib trial this morning. Nice trial, as you've already alluded to. He's going to run in the Lion City Cup. What a thrill that will be. And obviously we are hearing news now that more owners and guests will be allowed to come, so I'm sure you can really sort of lap that up and enjoy that moment. Can you, I know we're still a little way out from that race, but just at the moment, your general feeling, your vibe, I mean, it's exciting to have a runner in a Group 1.
Yeah, no, I think, since November, I think we have seen him progress quite a bit. He has done well. He's been consistent with all the races he has run, 4 races. And I think we are really excited, to run him at the group race. And in fact, this would be my first group race. So really looking forward to the experience and the thrill.
Well, listen, it's great to chat with you, Kuldeep, and we wish you very well, Muraahib, and your young stock coming to Singapore, and hopefully we'll see those crimson and gold colours in the winner's circle.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Nick. Pleasure meeting you.